The plane reached a jump off height of 4,000 meters or 2.4 miles roughly after 12. 2 women and 2 men jumped out of the plane, but only 3 made it back to the ground alive. Let's talk about it. Els van Doren, Marcel Summers, Tom Bolsius, and Babs Klotman were all more or less experienced skydivers, and they had jumped together before. The 18th of November was supposed to be no different from before, but at 1,500 meters, only 3 parachutes opened, and 38-year-old Els fell towards the ground at a speed of roughly 200 kilometers an hour, where she, for lack of a better word, splattered in someone's garden. Emergency services could of course do nothing but declare her dead, so there was only one question to answer. What had happened to the experienced skydiver who had done more than 2,000 jumps? The Belgian police looked into different scenarios. Was it faulty equipment? Or did Els maybe even want to end her own life? The last theory was ruled out very quickly by the police. Els had renewed her membership for the skydiving club just that morning, and as they saw on the GoPro attached to her helmet, she had been desperately trying to open first the regular parachute and then the emergency one that was supposed to activate if anything was wrong with the main one. Then, the detectives got some shocking information from the forensic scientists that were examining Els' parachute backpack. One of the cords had been cut, and the extractor, a tiny little parachute that was supposed to help open the main one, was completely missing. It was one of the other jumpers, Babs, who found it 2 days later in a tree. It had also been cut, so no matter how many times Els had pulled on the cord to release the parachute, without the extractor it couldn't open. Now the only question remaining was, who had killed Els van Doren? The first people the investigators focused on were the 3 people that jumped with her that day. After all, whoever had done this must have at least some knowledge about skydiving to know which cord to cut. Tom Bolsius was ruled out immediately. The man had only befriended Els shortly before the jump, and they barely knew each other. Babs, on the other hand, knew Els very well, and she told the police something shocking. The married Els had an affair with the 4th jumper, Marcel Summers. Now the police had 2 suspects, Marcel and Els' husband, John de Wilde. The police at first focused on the husband de Wilde, who was a former skydiver himself, and he had access to Els' equipment. But the man swore up and down that not only did he not know about the affair, he also would have never made their 2 daughters orphans. The questioning of Marcel revealed another shocking truth. Not only had he been sleeping with Els for over 5 years, he was also sleeping with Babs Klotman. And while Babs knew about his affair with the other woman, Els had no clue that he was also sleeping with Babs. And then, he revealed something that turned the investigation on its head. Els had come over to his apartment, unannounced, a week before the jump while Babs had been there. This hadn't concerned Els, who had greeted her friend and then disappeared into Marcel's bedroom. Babs slept on the couch, while the other 2 got busy in the bedroom. Now, the police had a 3rd suspect, Babs, and they questioned her again. But she just told them that she hadn't been jealous, and she didn't love Marcel. And with no proof against any of the 3 suspects, the police was stuck. Until they got a call. A month after they were all questioned, Babs had tried to unalive herself. When the police asked her why, she told them Marcel had broken up with her the day prior. Now, the investigators were sure. Babs was the guilty one. She did love Marcel, and she couldn't deal with the fact that he loved another woman. The problem was, there was no proof. So they decided to order all 3 to take a lie detector test. Jean de Wilde passed with flying colors, as did Marcel. And Babs? Well, she didn't even show up, on behest of her lawyers. For the prosecutor, that was enough. He charged her with the premeditative murder of her once close friend, Els van Doren. It took over 4 years until the case finally went to trial. The prosecution questioned over 200 witnesses. Babs, meanwhile, swore up and down that she was innocent, but it didn't look good for her. Jean, Els' husband, testified that he had to stop Babs from reading a letter at his wife's funeral that was full of lewd details about her affair. Marcel testified that Babs had come to his apartment, only 2 days after the deadly jump, had taken off her clothes and demanded he sleep with her. And the psychiatrist testified that he believed Babs was a psychopath and a narcissist. She was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years. The judge even declared her to be especially guilty. After all, she was the last one to jump, because she wanted to watch her friend struggle and die. Babs was only in prison for 12 years. She was released in June of 2022.